What would you accomplish if you could genuinely read minds? Now, like ethics aside, forget the privacy violations, forget the creepy factor, but if you could actually know what somebody was thinking for real, what would you get done? And most people answer with the same kinds of stuff. Close more deals, know if their partner was actually okay, find out what their team actually thinks before it turns into an issue, finally understand why that one conversation always goes sideways. So, whatever your answer is, I can help you accomplish that. And here's why 99% of what people want is sitting on the other side of someone else's honest answer. Okay. And the reason you're not getting it has nothing to do with your ability to read minds. It has everything to do with the same reason people lie to their doctor. And stay with me on this. I've I've done over 20,000 hours of live performance, real rooms, real people, no script, no net, no do-overs. And what I learned early is that the people filling silence with the most words, they're usually the people getting the least back. They're broadcasting, they're not communicating because real communication is a two-way transaction. The valuable side, the part that actually helps you, is what comes back. And specifically, what comes back honestly, right? Because think about what you're actually after in any high stakes conversation. You want to know if the prospect is serious or just shopping. You want to know if your team believes in the direction you're going or are they just being polite? You want to know if the person across the table from you is giving you the real issue or the version that they're not embarrassed to say out loud. All of that is a request for an honest answer. And the odds that you're getting one are a lot lower than you think, right? Because I run a community of founders and experts. They're all high performers who are genuinely world class at what they do. They can build a product, close a room, lead a team. And this is still what trips them up more than anything else. They're walking out of important conversations without the info they actually needed, and they can't figure out why that keeps happening. And like here's the scenario that explains it. Okay, so imagine a person goes to their doctor, trained, credentialed, they're there to help. The whole point of the appointment is accurate information so the doctor can give good advice. And the patient lies to them. Right? They say they're exercising 5 times a week. They don't. They drink occasionally. They drink heavily. They've been taking the medication. No, they haven't. Right? Why would somebody lie to the one person with the best shot at helping them? Because the honest answer is humiliating. Right? Because somewhere along the way they picked up the belief that maybe being overweight means being a bad person, that skipping workouts is a moral failure, and they're not handing that to somebody who might reaffirm that, yep, you are a bad person. So they lie. They get mediocre medical advice that's built on the fiction that they've shared with their doctor. So really, they walk out worse off than if they just told the truth. Now, here's the part that should bother you. This is happening in your sales conversations, your leadership meetings, your relationships. Anytime somebody has something embarrassing to admit, they're doing the math on whether you're worth being honest with. And a lot of the time, they decide, nope, you're not. Right? The question is, what makes somebody worth telling the truth to? And the answer comes in two parts. First is competence. If somebody believes you can actually solve their problem, they have a reason to be honest with you. Right? The cost of the truth is worth paying because something useful comes out the other side. Think about the best doctor you've ever had, right? The one you actually told the truth to. You trusted their ability to help you before you trusted them with any embarrassing information, right? The embarrassing stuff. Competence opens the door, but it doesn't keep it open because the second thing is harder to name, but you've absolutely felt this. There's a difference between a doctor who looks you in the eye and says, you need to lose 40 pounds or you're going to have a heart attack, and a doctor who sighs, stares at the clipboard, and says, we've talked about this before. I'm really disappointed in you. Same information, completely different experience. One is sharing information so you can use it as a tool. The other lands as a verdict, right? A judgment call, a moral judgment. The first doctor is hard to hear, like for sure. I'm not saying that's easy, but you leave knowing exactly where you are and what to do about it. That's the right kind of hard. The second makes you want to skip the next appointment. That's not a doctor delivering a difficult truth. That's a doctor like punishing you for the truth you walked in with. And nobody comes back to be punished again. But there's something else happening in that exam room that's worth naming specifically. Now, if this was an urgent care visit, some doctor you'll never see ever again after this meeting, the math on lying gets even easier. No consequences, the relationship has no future. You walk out, it's over. But if this is your doctor, the one that you'll be sitting in front of again in 6 months, lying now creates a problem you'll have to manage later. The honest answer becomes the smarter play because the relationship has a future and the lie has to survive in it. So it takes more time and energy to maintain what is not in alignment with reality. So it's kind of like a moral vacuum. It's a truth vacuum, and nature abhors a truth vacuum. So it's going to take more time and energy to maintain that vacuum than just admitting the truth. This is why people who are low. That's why most people most likely to tell you the truth are the ones who want to keep working with you. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Which is if people want to work with you, they're more likely to just tell you the truth, right? And they're the people who trust that telling you the truth serves that goal of working with you. The longer that somebody intends to stay in your orbit, the higher the cost of carrying a lie forward, right? So it's going to cost them more, so they're less likely to do it. I mean, I've been a full-time touring speaker and mentalist for over 20 years. That's a lot of airplanes, a lot of flights. And I can't tell you how many times a complete stranger has sat down next to me and then somewhere over Ohio, they started telling me things I guarantee you that they've never told their spouse. Their business is failing, their marriage is hollow, they made a decision 5 years ago and they've never admitted to it out loud except to me. So why me? Because I'm nobody to them. No future, no consequences, no relationship to protect. The confession costs absolutely nothing, right? The accountability runs both ways though. And when there's no accountability, the truth actually comes out for a completely different reason. The variable isn't only how much somebody trusts you, it's whether the relationship has enough of a future that honesty is worth the risk. The variable isn't only how much somebody trusts you, it's whether the relationship has enough of a future that honesty is worth risking the embarrassment or the shame or whatever. So competence gets them to the table, not punishing them for the truth keeps them talking, and giving them a future worth being honest for seals the deal. Okay, so you got to have all three. And then here's where it goes deeper. Even when somebody gives you the honest answer, you have to be able to do something with it. When people get the real diagnosis, when they find out that the problem isn't the market or the economy or their circumstances, when they find out that the problem is a call they made, a decision they made, their responsibility, most people deflect from that. Okay. External blame is the default approach to that. Life is happening to them. The economy is bad. The prospect was unreasonable. The team isn't capable. It's never the decision that they made back in February that's still playing out in October. Oh, couldn't be that. So the honest truth only helps the person who can receive it. So part of what I do is help somebody take an honest answer and use it rather than hand it to them and then watch them spend the next 20 minutes explaining why it doesn't apply to them. Because the goal isn't getting the truth out of somebody. The goal is having that truth to do something, right? That requires them to believe that they have the ability to change their situation, that the outcome isn't fixed, that they can affect the trajectory of tomorrow, that they're not just a passenger waiting for their own life to go by. So when somebody's living in blame, honest feedback lands as an accusation. Right? When somebody owns their choices, though, honest feedback becomes a tool that they can use to make change. So the difference between those two people isn't intelligence, it's not talent, it's whether they believe the next move is theirs to make or going to be something that happens to them. So, what would you accomplish if you could actually read minds? Everything you could accomplish. You were building the right kind of relationship where people tell you the truth, competence to get them to the table, not punishing the truth to keep them talking, and having a future worth being honest for to make it worth starting in the first place. And you need the ability to do something real with what they hand you. So, I've spent 30 years studying this on stages, in boardrooms, in conversations that look like magic that turned out to just be clarity, right? Every video on this channel is about one piece of how that works, how decisions actually get made, why rooms go cold before you finish your sentence, what it costs you when somebody has already decided and you don't know it yet. Right. So if that's the kind of stuff that you want to get better at, you're in the right place. Link in the description if you want to work on this directly. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.